Between 1970 and the summer of 1973, boys and young men began disappearing from Houston area neighborhoods at a pretty steady pace. But there didn't
Hmm.
seem to be any reason why, and none of the disappearances were initially linked together because each disappearance looked pretty ordinary in isolation. Many of the boys were last seen moving through familiar spaces. They were either, walking to a friend's house or heading towards a local store or spending time with people they already knew. Some had recently argued with their parents. Some were
Mm.
staying with friends. I mean, mind you, there was a lot of them. So there could have been a lot of situations here. Some were moving between homes. So their movements fit patterns that adults were already used to explaining away, really.
Hmm. Hmm.
Police reports from that period show that many cases were classified as runaways. That classification shaped everything that followed because it slowed urgency and limited resource allocation. It also siloed resources between jurisdictions. A missing teenager in one neighborhood did not automatically connect to a missing teenager across town. And during these same years, Corll continued living in short term rental homes. He didn't stay long enough in one place for neighbors to become suspicious.
Mm.
And when he moved, that no suspicions moved with him.
Yeah, so he keeps everything contained. There's no witnesses.
Exactly. And because he had Brooks and Henley under his thumb, finding these teenagers rarely looked like force. Brooks and Henley later described approaching boys they already knew or recognized, like friends of friends, inviting them to hang out, to drink, offering them rides. So there were no forceful scenes that were visible to outsiders in these neighborhoods. But once they got inside Corll's home, they couldn't escape. Once inside, Corll restrained, sexually assaulted, tortured, and killed the teens that were lured inside by Brooks and Henley. Most of the victims were boys between the ages of 14 and 17. However, there was one known female victim. Brooks and Henley were present during the assaults, sometimes assisting in the restraining, but only Henley participated directly in multiple murders.
Hmm.
The earliest
Wow.
known victim disappeared in 1970. As that year progressed, more boys vanished under similar circumstances. But the leads dried up. Without a visible crime scene, the disappearances blended into the background noise, but the disappearances didn't slow down. Brooks and Henley not only helped to lure the victims and, in some cases, participated in the killings, they
Mm.
also helped dispose of the bodies.
Ugh,
Yeah.
no.
One of the most significant disposal sites was a rented boat shed near a Houston area marina. Brooks and Henley later testified that Corll selected it specifically because it wouldn't draw attention. It's kind of like out
Hmm.
of the way a little bit. Multiple victims were buried beneath the floor of the shed. The site was used repeatedly. The choice of the location allowed the remains to stay undisturbed for very long periods of time.
Ugh.
Other burial locations were used, including beaches, remote wooded areas, and sites accessible through Corll's rental properties.
Hmm.
And these locations expanded the geographic footprint of the crimes and made discovery less likely. Each site reduced the chance that multiple disappearances would be linked together quickly.
It's very smart.
I know. And by 1972, Henley's role had intensified. He later described being paid to assist with recruitment and being threatened if he refused. That year
Wow.
also included the murder of that only female victim, Rhonda Williams. She was a teenage girl brought into Corll's home despite his established pattern of targeting boys.
Yeah, it sounds like things were escalating for Coral if he deviated from his normal pattern.
Yeah, it definitely did. But the pattern would completely collapse on August 8th, 1973. That night, Henley brought three teenagers to Corll's Pasadena home. When Corll attempted to restrain them, Henley actually resisted. He retrieved a firearm and ended up shooting Corll multiple times, eventually killing him. After the shooting, Henley left the house with the others and contacted police. He didn't attempt to flee or fabricate a story in self defense. He just began talking.